Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think there's no secret that the Russian operation doesn't go as planned. I would say far from it. And you might think that the Russians would or might, I don't know, drop some of their requirements in negotiations, in no negotiations at this point, but if they would, find the right time to negotiate with the Ukrainians. Well, no, they don't drop anything. They say, no, we will continue our military operation until we fulfill our goals that we set before we started it, which I admire. So let's see what's going on here. This article comes from an Arabic news outlet. It's called Mayadin, Al Mayadin, and it's from today, the 11th of November 2022. This is the title. Military operation may be completed after goals are achieved. This is this guy, if you remember this guy, this funny looking guy, Mr. Peskov. Yeah, that's him, Mr. Peskov. So, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov says the region of Kherson still belongs to Russian territory, stressing that the decision to reposition troops was not humiliating. Well, that means that if Kherson still belongs to the Russian territory, that means you were attacked by the Ukrainians, right? Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said on Friday Russia will not cease its special military operation in Ukraine until its goals are achieved. The four, right? And I'm quoting, the Ukraine conflict, I would say in this case a special military operation in Ukraine, from our point of view, can be completed after the goals are achieved. End quote, Peskov told reporters at a briefing. He further added that the Kherson region is a subject of Russia and that the status of the region is legislatively fixed and defined. And I'm quoting, there are no and can be no changes, end quote, Peskov said, adding that Russia will continue to consider the Kherson region in its entirety as its own and will not amend the legal status of the territory on the western bank of the Dnieper River. So, that means they will never let that go. When asked whether he considered the withdrawal of troops from the Kherson region to be humiliating, Peskov answered, and I'm quoting, no, niet. I don't know how, but anyway. Earlier today, the Russian Defense Ministry reported Russia has completed the withdrawal of Russian troops from the southern city of Kherson to the eastern bank of Ukraine's Dnieper River. On November 9, Russian Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu agreed to implement the plan to withdraw the troops from the right bank of the Dnieper River, including the city of Kherson, and organize a defense on its left bank under the recommendations of the commander of the joint Russian forces in Ukraine, Sergei Surovikin. Alright, so it says, peace talks with Ukraine. When asked whether the goals of Russia's special operation in Ukraine can be achieved through peaceful negotiations, Peskov said, Russia's special operation can be completed by achieving the goals through peaceful negotiations, which is also possible. But peaceful negotiations, as we know, are now unavailable due to Ukraine's position, the Kremlin spokesman said. If you know, Zelensky made a law, whatever, the leadership over there, that it makes it illegal, against the law, to negotiate with the Russians under the current administration or something. So far, Russia hasn't seen any changes in Kiev's position on holding a dialogue with Moscow, adding that Kiev still does not want to hold negotiations. So, and I'm quoting, the special military operation continues, end quote, Peskov told reporters. On November 7, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky set 5 conditions for peace negotiations with Russia, which include restoration of territorial integrity, respect for the UN Charter, compensation for all damages caused by the war, and guarantees that the conflict will not happen again, among other things. Okay, I spoke about this in a previous video, and I pointed out that the restoration of territorial integrity will be restored, but not as it used to be, because the Russians want their territory back. They're not going to let it in your possession anymore. They did in 1918, they did it again in 1991, and it seemed that it didn't work out. It did it in 1954, so it seems like they don't want to do that again. That's the first one. Respect of the UN Charter, about sovereignty and freedom. They should talk with the Americans first, what they do in Syria, and after they figure things out in Syria, then the Russians could get on with it. Compensation for all damages caused by the war. Well, the Russians do not think that they started the war. They think the Americans started the war when they wanted to expand NATO eastward. And the coup d'etat that they organized helped supported in 2014 with the traitors from within Ukraine, which they overthrew a legitimate, democratically elected Ukrainian government. So they started actually the war a long time ago. This is just a reaction to that, a consequence. So you owe them. How about that? No? Oh well, okay. All right. So guarantees that the conflict will not happen again. No problem. Get your masters, go the fuck out, and I don't think it's going to happen again. It wouldn't have happened anyway. But you choose the masters, it happened. There you have it. Get the fucking masters out, and then we can get along just fine. I think, but hey, what do I know? And it says, the Russian leadership has previously stated several times that Moscow will always be open to hearing solutions that would help to defuse the situation. On Wednesday, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman, great woman, Maria Zakharova, further reaffirmed Moscow had not refused to conduct talks. And it's they're talking about the megaphone diplomacy. That's how it's called, the U.S. diplomacy nowadays, megaphone. And that is when they do something, and when they negotiate with Russia, they immediately leak it to the mass media, things that should not be leaked. So then the Russians will not get engaged with backdoor negotiations and diplomacy, because these guys cannot be trusted, are like kids. Immediately, hey, she's my girlfriend now. Shut the fuck up. All right? So, anyway, and here Putin will not attend G20 and APEC summits. Peskov further said that Putin will not attend the G20 summit in Indonesia via video conference due to a tight schedule, and also will not address the APEC summit participants in video message. When asked the reason why he will not attend both events, Peskov responded, and I'm quoting, "The decision of the president was connected with his tight schedule and with the need for his presence in Russia." All right, there you have it. No, open for negotiations. They will continue the military operation. They will not drop any of their goals. Putin will not attend the G20 in Indonesia. He was not going to have a speech or anything. He's going to send Lavrov, which I think is even worse in my assessment, because Lavrov is feistier than Putin, I would say. I don't know if anybody is going to, Western countries will bother to talk to him, but anyway, he's going to represent Russia there nevertheless. And he's going to be probably speaking with Jai Shankar and Wang Yi of China. I don't know if they're going to talk with presidents or not, foreign minister with presidents, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so the show must go on, and it will go on. The Russians, as long as they're in power, the ones that are right now, there's not going to be an ending to this. We'll see. They will not drop their goals. So what's the West going to do? Freeze and then tell Zelensky, stop the crap. It's time, it's well past due whatever we wanted to achieve, and we can't keep going. We'll see what the military industrial complex will say in the United States, and we'll see what they will do and how they will tell the politician weasels in the United States, hey, time's up, get the fuck out. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.